All right, let's get right into it. When we talk about reproduction, it's really easy to get bogged down in just a list of parts. But today, we're not just going to list off body parts. No, we're going to look at this as a story, a tale of two brilliant, completely contrasting strategies, two perfectly designed systems, all working towards one single goal, the continuation of life.
And you know what's wild? This whole super complex story, for both males and females, kicks off from the exact same place. A tiny little spot in the brain called the hypothalamus. You can think of it as the command center. It sends out the initial signals that launch two completely different game plans.
So, what are these two game plans we're talking about? Well, on one side, you've got the male strategy. Think of it like a factory running 24/7. Massive scale, continuous, high-volume production. It's a numbers game, plain and simple. Then you've got the female strategy, and that's all about quality over quantity. It's a careful, cyclical preparation for one single, high-stakes opportunity.
All right, so let's jump into that first strategy, the male approach. We're going to take a peek inside this non-stop production factory. First off, here's a question you probably wondered about at some point. Why are the testes located outside the main body? Well, it's not random at all. It's actually a super clever bit of biological engineering. To make sperm properly, you need a temperature that's just a little bit cooler than core body temp, and the scrotum provides that perfect climate-controlled environment. So, where does all this production actually happen? Well, if we go inside the testes, we find these things called seminiferous tubules. Imagine the factory floor. It's just jam-packed with these incredibly long, tightly coiled tubes, a design that's all about maximizing every square inch of space for making millions and millions of sperm. And this whole process, this constant production happening on that factory floor, has an official name: spermatogenesis. It's the engine, right? The biological motor that's driving this entire strategy of quantity. But you know, a factory is nothing without its workers, right? And this one needs a really specialized crew. We're talking about two key types of cells here: Sertoli cells and Leydig cells. Each one has an absolutely critical and very specific job to do. So let's break down what they do, because this is where the magic happens. The Sertoli cells, they're the support crew. They literally surround, support, and feed the developing sperm. And the Leydig cells, they're the ones running the power plant, pumping out testosterone, the essential hormone that powers the whole operation. But, you know, just because they're made doesn't mean they're ready. Not even close. Fresh off the production line, these sperm can't even swim. So they head off to the epididymis, which you can think of like a finishing school or maybe a training camp. This is where they mature and, most importantly, learn how to swim. Without this step, they're pretty much useless. Okay, last step for team male: packaging and delivery. The sperm get mixed with fluids from the prostate and seminal vesicles. This new mixture, which we call semen, is like the perfect care package. It's got nutrients, it's got protection, everything needed for the long journey ahead. Now they're fully equipped and ready for action. All right, let's hit the brakes and switch gears completely. We are leaving the non-stop factory behind because the female strategy is a whole different ballgame. This isn't about quantity. It's about careful, meticulous preparation and creating the absolute perfect, selective, and nurturing environment. So, inside the ovaries, we find these little structures called follicles, and inside each one is an immature egg. And here's the part that just blows my mind every time. A female is born with every single egg she will ever have. Think about that. They're all there from day one, just waiting. And just so we're all on the same page, the proper scientific term for one of these immature egg cells is an oocyte. That's what's tucked away inside the follicle, maturing in a cycle that happens over many, many years. So how does this all unfold? Well, it's not a constant assembly line. It's a very precise monthly plan. Step 1, ovulation. One single mature egg gets released. Step 2, it starts its journey into the fallopian tube. This is the spot, the potential meeting place. And while all of that is happening, at the exact same time, Step 3, the uterus is getting ready for a potential guest by thickening its lining, the endometrium. It's a perfectly timed 3-act play every single month. So we've been following two totally different stories, right? The factory focused on quantity and this carefully prepared environment focused on quality. Now we get to the part where these two strategies, these two systems, finally meet. And you can really see here how these two systems are just designed for each other. I mean, the male delivery system is built specifically to navigate the female reproductive tract. It's bringing millions of sperm from that factory right to the doorstep of this perfectly prepared environment.
And the grand finale, the climax of both of these strategies, it happens right here in the fallopian tube. For the sperm, this is the end of a ridiculously long journey. But if one is successful, it's the beginning of a brand new one. It's that ultimate moment where quantity finally meets quality.
Okay, let's pull back for our final section and just look at the big picture here. Why? Why are these systems designed in these completely different ways? Well, it all comes down to how their unique structure and strategy work together to ensure success, to build for the future.
But before we wrap this up, let's bust a couple of really common myths, because a lot of people get this stuff wrong. First up, the idea that sperm are good to go the second they're made. Nope. As we saw, they're useless until they go to that finishing school, the epididymis, and learn to swim. And the second myth, that females are constantly making new eggs throughout their lives. Again, not true. All the oocytes are there from birth, just waiting for their turn to mature, one by one.
And this right here, this is the perfect snapshot of our whole story, our tale of two strategies. On one side, you have the male system, built for one thing, making tons and tons of sperm. And on the other, the female system, designed for this incredibly careful release of just one egg into a perfectly prepared space.
So if there's one thing, just one key idea you take away from all of this, let it be this. Structure is perfectly adapted to function. Every single detail we talked about, from where the testes are located to the monthly thickening of the uterine lining, all of it, it all has a purpose. Nothing is random, nothing is wasted.
And that kind of leaves us with one big question to chew on, right? When you see this level of unbelievable coordination, this elegant dance between two totally different biological systems that has been perfected over millions of years, how does that shape or deepen our understanding of what life itself is all about?